Yo, it's your boy Vegabomber and welcome to Vegabomber Land. Alright, so I had to do it. I have to talk about Suicide Squad. I mean, why wouldn't I? That's what I do, right? I talk about movies. But the interesting thing is, this week, my friends were wondering, which side did I fall on? Because it seems like so far, when it comes to this movie and reviews of this movie, people are either 100% angry or mad or frustrated with this movie and they just absolutely didn't like it, and there's some good reason for that. Or they looked past all those things and said this is just one of the greatest Warner Brother DC films ever. So people are sitting back, Bomber, which one are you? So now, let me just tell you, I'm actually kind of split on this one, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, because see, I'm basically one half fanboy and one half critical thinker. And so I'll say it this way. From the fanboy side, I would say that this movie was fun for me. It was entertaining. It was a different way to go about superhero films in the sense that these were bad guys. And I know Guardians of the Galaxy kind of attempted this, but out in outer space. But I couldn't wait to see it, and I thought it was pretty good. So for me, the fanboy side, I'd say, I was entertained. Now that other side of me, the critical thinker side of me, was just saying, you know what? We've seen this before, and we've seen it a lot before. And the critical side of me said, why can't we have a film that has a good, decent third act? Why can't we have really good villains? So, gosh, this plot was off and, right? So I was frustrated. That's what I was as a critical person looking at these films, as somebody who has to look at films critically, because I've seen a lot of films, both superhero genre and not. And so I have a good sense of a certain bar of what really looks good, what cuts the mustard, and what doesn't. So taking that all into account, let's just talk about the synopsis of this film. So this film is basically about Amanda Waller, who works for a private government entity, who wants to assemble this team, much like the Dirty Dozen back in the old school days. She wants to assemble this team that basically is no risk for her. You drop them into a situation that's already bad, and if it goes wrong, oh well, you just killed some villains. If it goes well, then you can maybe knock some time off their sentences, but either way, you're still in control. So therefore, she's looking to put a team together, and she's going to call it a Suicide Squad. Nick Fury wanted to put a team together. He called that Avengers. And of course, in Batman v Superman, Batman wants to put a team together, and they're going to be the Justice League. So the film is basically built off of that. It's all about how Amanda Waller thinks that she can control these villains and then sending these villains out to task. And there's where your movie goes from there. So first of all, let's talk about the pros. So the pros to this film are pretty simple. To me, the performances were incredible. So Viola Davis, she killed it as Amanda Waller, right? Very manipulative, very mean, but in very much control, right? I was worried about Will Smith, but Will Smith didn't give us the After Earth Will Smith. He gave us the Will Smith that we always loved from the show and from movies like the first Independence Day and even his dramatic acting that he did in the movie Ali. So Will Smith was good as Deadshot. And I thought that the little theme that they put in there to kind of give him the emotional center of that whole group was smart, because he's the guy probably out of all of them that was best suited to carry the dramatic weight, but still be funny, but then also still be taken serious as somebody who could shoot some things up. I also would say that just the idea of this film, just that Warner Brothers wanted to take a chance to do something like this, to take a movie about the villains when you haven't even introduced a movie about your superheroes yet in terms of the Justice League. So them taking a chance and say, let's spin it and go the other way, I have to like that. And the fact that they are trying to distance themselves from Marvel and try to keep it somewhat more dark in a sense, but not dark that it has to be brooding and upset, but just the palettes and the way it's shot also. There needs to be a difference between the Marvel films and the DC films, or else they're just going to blend together and, well, you know, I don't want them to do that. I want there to be a difference so that when I sit down I can know what I can expect. Another pro I would say is that you had David Ayer on the directing helms and the guy behind the camera, because he did a great job writing Training Day, but he also did a great job also of filming both End of Watch and also Fury. I thought he did a great job with those. And if you've seen either one of those films or any of those three films, you know that they're dark, gritty, and they're real. They deal with realistic situations from the grimiest of places, but yet you still see the hope of the people pushing through that. And so therefore, I love David Ayer for that. And that, I would say, is definitely the pros. I'd also say that there was a scene, I guess my favorite scene in the movie is probably when Deathshot is sitting on top of a car, and he just starts murking everybody that starts walking towards him, all the new villain things that are coming at them, right? The nameless, faceless bad guys that were coming at him. Just the way he just top, and didn't miss anybody. Straight kill shots. That was probably my favorite scene in this movie. So yeah, Will Smith, I love that scene, brother. That was right on. Now, to be well-rounded, I also have to talk about the cons, and this is probably from the more critical side of Vegabomber. So from this perspective, again, what we have is shoddy editing. We've got editing that's just all cut up, and so the pacing is ridiculous. The tone was fine, but the editing was just all over the place. The plot inconveniences. There's just things where you sit back and go, well, why would so-and-so do this when they're going to go there? I would also say that I didn't like the idea that the final bad guy, Enchantress, which that's out there in the trailers, but if you didn't know, this is a minor spoiler, if it's even a spoiler at all, but the Enchantress, gosh, weak villain yet again. Somebody with that much power should be able to really wreck shop, but just the idea of her just doing the moon dance. She looks like a hula girl or whatever that is. That just, I don't know, I didn't buy it, but she just didn't make sense. She's super powered, and then if she's so super powered like that, as an entity like that, then what is a guy throwing a boomerang and a girl swinging a bat going to do to stop them? I mean, it's ridiculous. So it was that way, and just again, the mission that they went on for their first mission as a Suicide Squad, I don't feel like was a good mission, so that was a problem. And the family element that was supposed to happen when they got together, Diablo and all that stuff, it wasn't earned. I mean, at any point in this movie, I could care. I could care less about whether this happened because I just didn't sense that anybody really pulled it through. So, I don't know. I didn't care for that. And maybe the biggest thing I would have to say is that lame third act. Yes, for whatever reason, especially in these action films, but even more so in superhero films, they just don't seem to know what to do in the third act. That just seems to be the act where they throw all the crap at you and there's everything blowing up and things are going crazy, and all the story that you tried to set up in the first two acts just seems to go out the window. And this film, it's almost soul-crushing how lame the third act is. So visually it looks good, but at the end of the day, I go to the movies for the full experience, and this movie isn't a full experience. It has a great first two halves, and stuff that happened in the first half wasn't very good either, but I was able to look past it because I could see where they were trying to build momentum. I just feel like at the end, it fell out. And now, I know what some of y'all really want to know. What did I think of Joker? Well, with the Joker, it's pretty simple. Let's just be honest about it. Pretty much at this point, at least in my opinion, cinematically, nobody's going to beat Heath Ledger's Joker, not by a long shot. No one's going to be able to do that. What he did was so groundbreaking, so new, so different, and then you tie the death to it and everything else. It's just really, really going to be hard to beat him at that. Now, that said, I think Jared Leto wasn't bad. I think part of the problem in this film, another con, is that we didn't get to see Joker very much. And really, as much as he was placed in the trailers, he wasn't nearly in the movie as much. And really, he shouldn't have been, because I don't really feel like if Enchantress is the bad person, she's the villain, you really don't need Joker. So to me, it was a missed opportunity. It was a setup for a Joker and Harley Quinn movie. But, you know, again, DC, you need to learn how to layer the story to where people can follow it as it goes along rather than just dumping everything in there like you did with Batman v Superman. The same problem kind of happens here. There's just too many characters and not all of them get the shine that they should get. Like whatever happened to Slipknot? Whatever happened to Katana? We don't know much about them, why they're even there or anything like that at all. But again, stuff I let go in the first half of the movie, but clearly still there and still has an impact on the film. But back to Jared Leto, I would just say this. I think he did fine. I don't know that I like that version of the Joker, but at the same time, I also understand that you have to do something different with the Joker. So making him kind of like a gangsta Joker, I guess, but for me, I don't know. I'm not buying a Scarface Joker. I mean, it's different, for sure. But, I didn't buy that any more than I bought a Lex Luthor with hair that was younger, that was quirky and twitchy. It just didn't quite work for me, although I'll have to say it wasn't Jared Leto's fault. And I think if he'd been in the film more, and there would have been a real reason for him to be in the film other than being Harley Quinn's boyfriend, then maybe we'd have seen something different. And maybe it's not even fair to compare them, because Heath Ledger got to sit in it and own it. So anyways, that's the way that goes. I feel like there's a lot of weight on my shoulder with this thing. So to sum it all up, what would I say about this movie? Should you go see this movie? Well, the fanboy in me will say yes. The movie's entertaining. You can eat your popcorn, you can drink your soda, and you can still have a good time with this film. So that's definitely not a problem. So yeah, you could do that. The other side of me that says if you want to go see a film and you're trying to choose between this and something probably more critically acclaimed, go see the critically acclaimed movie, because you'll enjoy that if your experience is to escape, and then you can see this movie at the matinee. You still need to experience this movie, because this movie is a step up from Batman v Superman as far as I'm concerned, but they still have a long way to go. Anyway, it's your boy Vegabomber, and well, actually before I get out of here today, tell me below in the comments, what did you think? Where are you at? Were you on the side that just chose to, that was oblivious to all the faults in the movie, or were you on the side that wanted to point out every fault that was in the film? Because either one is pretty easy to do. But tell me below, which one are you? Anyway, it's your boy Vegabomber, and I'm out. You!